Hi, everybody. It's your friend Daniel Hutchins. And you see, I have my computer on my lap while I'm laying down on my pillows on my bed. Now, all my posters up here and stuff. But okay, I used to have posters right on this wall. If you guys who are my longtime subscribers remembered, I used to have posters on this wall. But now I don't anymore because I moved them. So we're going to be talking about some things from our friends comicbookresources.com, otherwise known as short for CBR.com. So we are going to be talking about actors you probably forgot were in the original Spider-Man trilogy. And then later we're talking about some other things if you guys stick around. Okay, so actors you probably forgot were in the original Spider-Man trilogy. Okay, so the Spider Man trilogy is full of well known actors, but there were a lot of other stars some viewers may recall from the Raimi trilogy. Now, the Raimi trilogy boasted a number of big name actors during its time. Now, before taking on the roles of Peter Parker and Mary Jane, Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst has made names for themselves with films from Pleasantville and Bring It On, Bring It In, Bring It In, Bring It On. But along with them, actors such as William Dafoe, Alfred Molina, and J.K. Simmons were all also established in career before we enter the Spider-Man universe. Okay, guys. So, yet the star power from the trilogy goes well beyond its cast, or the main cast, say. But for instance, Bruce Campbell of Evil Dead fame had a cameo from all three of the movies, each more memorable from the last. And Macho Man Randy Savage took on a role from Bonesaw McGraw. Going even deeper than this, there were other several actors who've shown up that were equally as famous at the time or has gained fame not long after their brief appearance. Okay, related to this article, Spider Man No Way Home debuts dangerous new footage. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. So, first, we're going to be talking about Asef Mendevi. Asef Mendevi is an actor and comedian most notably known for his time as a correspondent from The Daily Show. Outside of that, he has a sizable roster of films and television shows on his name. Now, Asef Mendevi was in Spider Man 2. He has played as the manager of Joe's Pizza. You remember Joe's Pizza if you watched Spider Man 2. So, his character is only present from the first 8 minutes of the film. Mendevi's performance is so hard to forget, even those who don't recognize him. Not only did it set the tone of overall films, but it also has established Peter's story arc as a never ending parade of disaster. Because after all, working at Joe's Pizza, can be a pretty tough job, apparently, to Peter, because he keeps showing up late on delivering pizza. Or he just steals pizza and then pretends to give it to him. But, you get the ideas of that. So next we got Emily Deschanel. Emily Deschanel is in the opening sequence of Spider-Man 2. We get to follow Peter as he rushes to get a pizza delivered from time. And you get that, so like I said, connect to Spider-Man 2. So Emily Deschanel finally gets to be in Spider-Man 2. But again, he arrives at his destination where a bored receptionist coldly has greeted him and informs him of his lateness. It is a scene that gained meme status over the years, with Peter's famous "Pizza time" proclamation becoming almost synonymous with his character. Okay, however, this is not the only noteworthy thing from that moment. Viewers familiar with the show Bones may instantly recognize receptionist Emily Deschanel as the actress who who played Temperance Bones Brennan over a course of her long run. Her small role from Spider-Man 2 has actually predates the show by the year. Now, related to this article, Spider-Man fans are getting fistfights from lands on No Way Home tickets. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. Now we're going into Lucy Lawless. Now, during a montage sequence from the first Spider Man film, there was a woman that was dressed in a punk rock attire and made a comment about the attractiveness of a guy with 8 hands. This woman is actually known as Lucy Lawless, who's largely known as her role for a titular character we know as Xena, the Warrior Princess. Now, according to the actress in interviews with Collider, which is another source we sometimes use here on the channel, this quick cameo came around when she was in New York in the time. Turns out she had known Raimi through her husband, an old friend of the director's. Now we have another name you might remember or you might not remember, depending. Daniel Day Kim. Daniel Day Kim. Yep, from playing the character in ABC's Lost to his role as Matthew Reichel in National Geographic's Hot Zone, Anthrax. Daniel Day Kim is a recognizable face from television. Even during the time of Spider-Man 2 and its release, he has already shown up in shows such as 24 and ER. As such, many viewers have recognized Daniel Day Kim upon his first viewing in his shows, respectively, but his role in the film was very brief. It has him portraying a character named Raymond, one of Otto Octavius's assistants, during a fusion reactor experiment. Now, interesting though, this is not the only Marvel film that Kim took part in, because he played another minor character from the Universal Hulk from the year before. Okay, latest article. Report says that Spider-Man No Way Home press screenings hide part of the movie. We're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. Next, we're talking about Joel Mchale. Okay, so long before his roles as Jeffrey Winger in the Community and Starman and DC Stargirl, Joel Mchale appeared in Spider-Man 2. This whose sole purpose seemed to make Aunt May's life as difficult as possible. His scene has his character refusing to give out a loan to read and finance May's house. The actor's sense of humor helped to add a bit of levity to the rather dramatic situation. It also should be noted that this role was McHale's first time appearing from the big screen, as the actor's previous roles have consisted of mainly TV appearances. Okay, now we have John Landis. Now, while many have come to a surprise that in Spider-Man 2 had a very unusual cameo from a rather famous director we know, John Landis, who is known for directing many classic films such as National Lampoon Animal House and Trading Places, has appeared in the film as one of the doctors tasked with operating with Dr. Octopus. Now, it's a brief appearance, but his character's killed off rather quickly. Only those with the keen eyes would recognize him under a surgeon mask. But even so, his inclusion in Spider-Man 2 was an interesting Easter egg. This is also not his first cameo in Sam Raimi film. He also has appeared in Darkman, which is another movie from years before. Latest article. Spider-Man uses a different, more violent fighting style than No Way Home. Okay, we're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. So, Octavia Spencer. Now, Octavia Spencer is really well known today. She's won, again, many Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actress in 2012 film we know as The Help. It is hard not to have at least heard her name in the passing. However, back from 2002, her character was still in early parts of her career. she may have gone unnoticed by many of the fans. Just before Spider Man's big wrestling scene, where Spider Man takes on Bonesaw McGraw, there was a moment establishing him signing up for the fight. This is where her character shows up as Check In Girl, a character with a rather incredulous reaction to Peter Parker asking for him to chance to step into the ring. Now, her humorous exchange with main character not only has served to progress the plot, but has also helped remind viewers just how out of place Peter was from this scene. Okay, next is Joe Manginellio. Now, we talked about him before. If you guys who are my subscribers pay attention, I talked about Joe Manganiello as I talked about a video about Flash Thompson. You have to go through my list of videos. I actually mentioned him. Again, there was a video I talked about one day that talked about me talking about Joe Manganiello and his thoughts about the new Spider-Man. You have to go down my list of videos to find it. But I did briefly had mentioned Flash Thompson before. But so Flash Thompson was an important staple from early Spider-Man books and movies, but it is no surprise that there has been a version of his character in every live-action iteration. So the current slate of Spider-Man films, the role was played by Tony Revolori, but again, back in 2002, Joe Manganiello had the honor of being the first actor to take on Flash Thompson. Again, Spider-Man also marked Manganiello's first big screen debut, but since then he has gone off and had bigger roles in movies and TV shows, like Magic Mike and True Blood. He also had a brief time played another comic book character we know, Deathstroke from DC Extended Universe. And yes, that is true. Again. So related to this article, why Sam Raimi chose organic webs for a Spider-Man trilogy. We already talked about that. We're going to keep going. Elizabeth Banks. Yeah. Elizabeth Banks has played several iconic roles in her career. From Eiffel, Trinket to Hunger Games franchise, the Gail Abernathy McCadden to Pitch Perfect films. Viewers have seen her as an actress in her work now despite her time as the first live-action Betty Brant. She is often overlooked. Now, nevertheless, her role as J. Jonah Jameson's secretary has spanned all through the three films, and her performance gave a perfectly captured her character from the comics. She's very cool and has a calm nature. She's worked as a great foil next to the high-strung editor-in-chief. Her interaction with Peter Parker felt like they were straight from the comics. Next, we talk about Bryce Dallas Howard. Okay, Bryce Dallas Howard is an actress that few would not recognize today, because even before taking her role of Claire during in the Jurassic World films, Ron Howard's daughter has found plenty of success starring in films like The Help. However, guys, her first big role in popular franchise has occurred much earlier from her career than some might realize. 5 years before Emma Stone has played Gwen Stacy in Amazing Spider-Man film, Dallas Howard has played the iconic role from Spider-Man 3. While her version of her character did not nearly have the same amount of screen time as the other one did, she has proved to be a welcome addition from the franchise. Okay, guys, so let me know which actors and actresses you remember from the original Spider Man trilogy. And now I'm going to talk about some other stuff from, you guessed it, our friend CBR.com, otherwise known as short and long words of comicbookresources.com. Okay, so now we are going to see. Okay. We are seeing what other stuff there is as long as we find something. Now I know they have something. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Spider Man some more, since he's really big in the universe right now. Spider Man No Way Home, worst hero is not Doctor Strange. Although Doctor Strange might have came to a mind for some, Spider Man No Way Home's worst hero is not the wizard. Warning, there are spoilers. Okay, guys, one of the most disconcerting aspects of No Way Home trailers was how accepting Doctor Strange was of Peter Parker Tom Holland. Two requests to mind wipe the world and make them forget he was Spidey. So at first he was flippant and dismissive, but he carried forth and felt arrogant and dangerous, especially as Strange knew the repercussions of messing with space and time from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Shockingly, though, amid all the evil incursions of Sony Films, No Way Home's worst hero was actually this reality's most incompetent wizard. However, the sad thing is, it's not even strange. Okay, I'll tell you why. So this is none other than Benedict Wong. Wong, who audiences learned was taken over as Sorcerer Supreme after Strange went missing from the blip. On the icy Sanctum Sanctorum, he has intruded on Strange and Pete, plotting to use a spell to erase people knowledge, with Strange even admitting he once used it on Wong and other people as through a full moon party on K Martaz. Related to this article, No Way Home, what MCU movies to watch before Spider-Man film? We're not talking about that. Talking something else. Now we're talking. Okay, so Wong has simply objected, and he has warned them to behave before departing through the portal of some mission. His warning was a bare minimum, although, honesty though, one of the more irresponsible acts that Wong could have committed given children he was lecturing. He's now the senior of all these wizards, and his position should be taken more seriously, especially if something he wants after years of training under the Ancient One. Now, thus, he's a lot more experienced and should know better, especially as Wong has no strange and his ego, and he loves breaking rules. Literally hearing him and Pete discussing this, knowing that Pete's desperate to see Strange being condescending and smug, all around the red flags the leader needed. Now, instead, Wong came off too preoccupied, operating nonchalantly over tampering with their mystical arsenal. Related to this article, Spider-Man No Way Homes present Doctor Strange 2 Trevor in an unconventional way. We're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So this is made just a culpable because despite being vociferous on how powerful the spell is, it could backfire to damage the fabric of reality. He left the duo to devices. The true hero would have stopped this plan dead from the tracks, or perhaps placed preventative spells to avoid reckless behavior, rather than just verbally condemnation. Now, instead, Wong has lacked any proactivity or command whatsoever. Now, as a result, Strange and Pete proceeded with their spell that's led to multiverse threats spilling over into MCU. Perhaps Baron Mordo is right in critiquing Strange, as well as Wong, because clearly there is no chain of command, zero respect for authority, and minimal accountability. Now, audiences expect more from Wong, because after seeing him get wasted in Shang-Chi and Legend 10 Rings, he should have been investigating the beacons from weapons sent in space. He seems he is not fit to be the replacement for the Sorcerer Supreme, because as No Way Home confirmed, Wong is a lackadaisical attitude can create more harm than good. Okay, so now you could see Spider-Man No Way Home now playing in the theaters. Okay, we're going to continue reading. There's another Spider-Man news I want to say. No Way Home YouTube leaks. So, significant scenes and spoilers from Spider-Man No Way Home has already popped up on YouTube, leaving that of Sony Pictures racing to shoot them down. Okay, pirated footage from Spider-Man No Way Home has already been found on YouTube, leaving Sony Pictures scrambling to get the leaks to take it down. Okay, so according to THR, several genuine scenes can be found from YouTube. Some of the videos contain major spoilers from Spider-Man No Way Home and are as long as 10 minutes in length. Although No Way Home has a release from the 17th in the United States, it is released on December 15th in many countries from the world. Most of the leaked videos either have foreign subtitles or dubs or a range of quality from grainy videos to be very clear. Again, the latest article, Paul Thomas Anderson says Spider-Man will save movie theaters. We're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. Sony has been quickly issuing copyright takedown notices to get all the videos scrubbed from YouTube and contain the leaks. Many of pirated videos were removed quickly and replaced with statements saying video unavailable. Now, this video contains content from Sony Pictures movies and shows, who has blocked it in your countries from copyright grounds. Again, Benedict Cumberbatch, who stars in Spider-Man No Way Home as Doctor Strange, issued pleas for fans to not spoil the events of the movie for those who have not seen it yet. Now, while walking the red carpet from the movie premiere, Cumberbatch said, "Please try not to spoil it. It's so hard. Again, I know you want to tell your friends about it, I get it, but I'm not going to tell any of my friends about it. So can we do it together?" That's a simple question, really. The answer is yes, Mr. Strange. So again, alright, so related to this article, Tom Holland wants a Spider-Man Black Widow movie with Florence Powell. Okay, again, we already talked about that already. Check that on my list of videos. Okay, reviews for Spider-Man No Way Home have been largely positive, and the movie has been certified fresh from review aggregator site we know as Rotten Tomatoes. So from the time of the writing, it has already had a critic score of 94% from 133 reviews, making it the second highest reviewed movie in any MCU behind Black Panther. One review has called the movie the most essential Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man film. Scales commented the recent rumors new trilogy featuring Spider-Man has already gotten go ahead with Marvel and Sony. When they were asked about making future Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland, she said, "As long as he wants to make Spider-Man movies, we'll make Spider-Man movies. I'm a producer and I'm always thinking ahead about everything is going to work out. If I have my way, we will." That's what she said. So again, directed by John Watts, the movie's still in theaters right now. Okay, now we're going to be talking about Sony's Spider-Man MCU appearance. Okay, Marvel, Sony have at least one more Spider-Man MCU appearance locked in. Okay, Sony Pictures head Tom Rothman has confirmed there's one more MCU Spider-Man appearance was guaranteed and more are likely to occur. This is from 5 days ago. Fans are worried that No Way Home will be the final team up between Sony and Marvel, but you guys do not have to worry. You guys do not have to worry. Again, since Tom Rothman, the chairman and CEO of Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Picture Group, again spoke to comicbook.com, which is another friend we use, about No Way Home premiere this week and the future of Web Swinger from the big screen. Now, while the exact deal that Sony and Marvel Studios share has never been revealed, Rothman has said, confirmed that at least one more Spider-Man appearance in MCU is guaranteed. Now, the latest article, Spider-Man No Way Home Twitter account says stay off social media to avoid spoilers. We're not talking about that. We're going to keep going. So it's reciprocal. And again, Rothman said, so we lend one. they land one. That's how Benedict Cumberbatch was in this movie. So we have to land more back, they had committed. But then the thing that I can say is this actually was the accurate scoop for this, again, which is why two companies have a terrific working relationship. I think it's a mutual hope that would continue, but there really isn't anything definitive at this moment because the truth of the matter is we gotta ride Spider Man No Way Home and see what has happened. Again, though, Rothman's statement makes it clear that Spidey will appear in one more MCU film. No further specifics tell you of what is given. Tom Holland has played the roles three standalone films, plus all the Avengers movies, including Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Now, as such, it would see that the two companies are even with the complete details of a mystery. It's hard to tell exactly where the lend one policy was. Related to this article, Marvel planned to hide No Way Home villains and market it as Spider Man versus Doctor Strange. First off, that doesn't make any sense. Second off, we're not talking about that. So, okay. So, what is clear is that Spidey is likely to show up in another MCU team up film. The better odds are the next Avengers movie. But on the solo side, meanwhile, producer former Sony executive Amy Pascal has seemed confident Holland will continue to lead another trilogy of solo Spider-Man film for Sony. Okay, so though that hasn't been confirmed yet, it has not been confirmed yet. Not been confirmed yet. All involved, including Rothman, they've seemed confident to continue the collaboration between these studios in their separate connected superhero universes. Okay, Spider Man No Way Home featuring a team up of Spider Man and Doctor Strange and an appearance of multiple villains from prior Sony films is already in theaters right now. Okay, just letting y'all know that. Again, it's really important that you guys go see Spider Man because it's one of the best movies this year. Okay, so we are trying to go back to CBR. We're trying to. My stupid phone is being stupid. Okay. Why is my phone not working? What the fuck? Well, looks like I gotta go to plan B. Computer. Or I have to sit up. But again, you longtime subscribers know what I look like when I am shirtless. So it's no big surprise. Anyway, so most of you longtime subscribers know I like to get shirtless, sometimes in the evening when I do an evening video. Or when I just am hot and I don't feel like wearing anything on top. You guys already know that, so longtime subscribers are pretty comfortable with me not wearing a shirt. So again, don't worry about that. Again, this content is usually just for adults only. It's not for kids. It's mostly for adults. But again, we are going to Screen Rant. We're going to check Screen Rant again because we tried to do what we can from CBR and we kind of maxed it out to the point where we couldn't do it right now. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about something else. So now there's another article that's really hot right now in the universe. Spider-Man No Way Home has almost included Tony Stark's daughter. Now, Tony Stark's daughter from Endgame has said that No Way Home has cut a scene including Morgan Stark. Okay, you want to know more? There's spoilers, guys. So, the actress who's played Tony Stark's daughter from Endgame says that Spider Man No Way Home has cut a scene including Morgan Stark. We know as the late Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark Iron Man has helped introduce Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Civil War. The pair has a mentor and protege relationship would continue in Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, and after his death from Far From Home, as Peter has inherited Edith in the final entry in Marvel Studios' Homecoming trilogy. No Way Home has capped off many of Peter's MCU relationships. So in No Way Home, Peter goes to Doctor Strange, Benedict Cumberbatch, for help in making the world forget he's Spider-Man. Subsequent spells bring multiverse iconic villains in the universe: Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Electro, Sandman, Lizard, and of course, the two other web swingers, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Now, despite being focused on Spider-Man Legacy, No Way Home still has time for Iron Man, with a handful of Stark references, from Iron Spider nanotech to drawings from Happy Hogan apartment. Again, so the latest article: How Spider-Man No Way Home protected its biggest spoiler. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. So the actress recently took to Instagram to reveal No Way Home has almost included the 5-year-old daughter of Tony and Pepper Potts, Morgan H. Stark, while also sharing images of herself alongside No Way Home cast from the Los Angeles premiere. She's also said the studio has previously asked to use her image from a film, but you can check out a post below. Again, this is again her social media you can check out. Lexi Rabe, again that's her name though. Regency Village in Boone Theaters, Westwood, California. Again, it is really, really, really interesting. Again, it's on Instagram. You have to go to Instagram, go under Lexi Rabe, who the actress is of Gun. So again, it has 47,000 plus likes. And you can see the original post there. Okay. It's worth mentioning that she was seen in Atlanta around the time of No Way Home production. She may have filmed a full-fledged cameo as opposed to have appearance being used for something like from photographs. With this being said, No Way Home spends quite a lot of time in Happy's apartment, where Morgan's drawings are put on display. The nice way of letting audiences know she is involved in the life of his late friend's daughter. Now, she's also teased she hopes to start filming soon in a future MCU project. However, we don't know what that is yet. So last fans have saw Morgan was her father's funeral from Endgame. Given how many familiar faces do appear from No Way Home, implications come along with them, including Tony's daughter. It could have been seen as distracting from a film already juggling so many character and interaction. Regardless of the fans may have to be able to check out this deleted scene come the time for the home release, because deleted scenes are usually pretty cool. Just saying. So Armor Wars on the horizon, Iron Man Legacy continuing to loom large. It is possible that Morgan could appear in MCU again, easily the biggest film, and yet represents another milestone from superhero cinema. Okay, so let me know what your guys thought about that is, with Morgan Stark almost being included in No Way Home. Let me know your thoughts. I think it's really cool. But again, when the DVD comes out, please, please let me know whether or not you will buy the DVD when it releases with deleted scene, so you can let me know what your thoughts about the deleted scene with Iron Man's daughter. Again, I think it's really cool, guys. I think it's really cool. Just saying. So now we are going to find something else. We are going to find something else. Yes, something else. Okay, something else. Something else. Something else. My computer is at 41 minutes left of battery, so I gotta try to wrap this up pretty quick. Or something of some sort. Now, okay. Now we have to find something. We have to find something. We have to find something, guys, again. Okay, we want to see whatever stuff is going on. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange in, you guessed it, No Way Home. All evidence of an MCU breaking theory. A theory has suggested that Doctor Strange is evil in Spider Man No Way Home. Here is all the evidence that hints the Strange is not himself. This is from 4 hours ago. Note there are spoilers from No Way Home. There is some evidence in No Way Home to support that theory that Doctor Strange is evil this whole time. Okay, Benedict Cumberbatch once again portrays Doctor Strange from MCU movie, but he has seemed not quite himself in this entry. Ever since the first trailer debuted from No Way Home, the actions of Doctor Strange have seemed off, especially for his eagerness to help Peter Parker with a spell that has dire consequence. So beyond this, his lack of empathy for villains have collected from the multiverse has seemed particularly callous for someone who's supposed to be an Avenger. Now, furthermore, Strange has felt distant, flippant, and secretive throughout this entire film, with far more going on behind the scenes than audiences is ever privy to realize. And no scenes feature only Doctor Strange or his perspective on what's happening, deepening the mystery of what is really happening with him. Okay, latest article is No Way Home the best Spider-Man movie? Well, that's an opinion. Let me know that what your opinion of that is, because I'm not talking about it. It's a waste of time. Just let me know. I want to know your thought. Again, further explanation and expansion on this evidence has that Strange is not himself in No Way Home. This entire sequence of executing the spell itself traverses the known and unknown parts of multiverse, as Wong has warned Strange, using a spell saying don't cast this spell in a line that's not in the final film. Again, Strange does so anyway. If it were a simple thing, the lack of explanation to Peter before casting the spell, particularly with Peter interrupting it, and Strange's lack of control over what he is actually doing, suggests that something is amiss with the good doctor. Doctor Strange has always been arrogant and competitive. Okay, so Doctor Strange has always been somewhat curmudgeonly, has been a somewhat curmudgeonly filled character with brash arrogance that stems from his early days as a successful surgeon. Many ways his ties to his character were somewhat power hungry. His his personality has devastating results for any character. After his car crash from Doctor Strange, he seeks out ways to heal himself when he was exposed to the possibility that he could learn from the Sorcerer Supreme. He has become obsessed with learning how to master those abilities. He ultimately uses newfound gifts for good, but even the slightest detours from that could spin him in a different direction. He is seen in Thor Ragnarok, where he helps Thor and Loki find their dad, Odin, although he tortures Loki a bit with the Sling Ring portal. Another hint that Strange's penchant has a lack of sympathy toward villains. His last two appearances from Infinity War and Endgame show him how combative he is with how okay, so his last two appearances in Infinity War and Endgame has showed how combative he was with Tony Stark. Okay, now I said. Okay, so now I said. Shows how combative he was with Tony Stark. jockeying for position over his ego. Now, although he eventually settles in a more heroic role and given Stark the answer he needs to finally beat Thanos, he ultimately does the right thing, but being the rebel and tendency for his arrogance, it could easily turn Doctor Strange heading down a wrong path, but there's already a precedent for it in MCU. Okay, MCU has already teased how easy evil Doctor Strange could be. Okay, okay, Doctor Strange has already been going evil since the Disney Plus series we know as What If. Season 1, after Christine Palmer was killed in a fateful car accident, instead of his hands being mangled, the alternate story finds that Strange is still seeking out the mystical arts. He is obsessed with reverting time to save Palmer. Strange attempts to serve and also save her multiple times, but always ends in her death. As results, he cannot accept, but he begins absorbing other magical beings in order to become an all-powerful sorcerer. He's hell-bent on his mission to save Christine with no regards for his consequences. Eventually, he becomes Strange Supreme and battles his good self, whom he absorbs to gain enough power to save Christine. However, she has rejected him from his evil form. Thereby, it shows him he's destroyed the universe for nothing, and it leaves him to grieve all alone in a small pocket of what is left. While this is only just one reality, guys, it's a perfect insight onto how far Strange could go if he faced a dilemma from current MCU, which is a pathway to total, complete evil. Okay, so related circle. What if proves Doctor Strange would be an MCU most dangerous villain? So Doctor Strange No Way Home behavior has felt off. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. So for someone who's become the new heir or title of Sorcerer Supreme from his first film, Doctor Strange, he seems like he's lost his touch with Spider-Man in No Way Home. Wong is the new Sorcerer Supreme. He'd taken over the role from Strange when he was blipped for 5 years in Infinity War. Strange is helped out in final battle from Endgame, but his magical prowess from No Way Home does not have this usual precision and focus. Strange has an attitude that feels almost rebellious, particularly toward Wong when he warns Strange the dangers of casting the spell. It's odd to know that Strange has so quick to mess with multiverse when he just got done saving half the universe. His actions do not add up. His lack of humility and humanity in refusing to admit he's allowed to spell to tamper with the beginning suggested he's not quite himself. Well, no shit, he's not quite himself. We were talking about this the whole time, guys. So it's also odd that he puts the teenage Peter Parker and all people enlist more sorcerers to help or other Avengers. He doesn't, though. His decision not to makes sure that it appears as though he's trying to keep the mishaps the secrets. Now, it begs the question on whether or not Doctor Strange perhaps has ulterior motives of erasing knowledge of Spider-Man, let alone opening up a multiverse to allow villains to seep in from the cracks. Doctor Strange's attitude to death is very suspicious. I'll tell you why. So when the villains from multiverse begin to appear, Strange not only forces Spider-Man to go around them up, but he's ready to send them to their death immediately. Now as Spider-Man meets, finding that they can be redeemed or saved, potentially saving the day in multiple timeline and multiverse, Strange is admittedly against it. He prompts a battle between Strange and Spider-Man that feels more like a battle between good and evil than simple moral misunderstanding. You know how crazy that is, guys? Yeah, it's crazy. So having just saved half the universe, one would think Strange would be open to save more lives. But in his instance, he simply wants them gone at the push of a little button. Now, his stance on the issues of sending these people to death is never rationalized as a greater good. It is more like a problem he just doesn't want to deal with, and again, is a secret he doesn't want to get out. Instead, Doctor Strange demanding that the villains will die in No Way Home feels like a tyrant issuing death sentences without a proper date in court. Strange is so callously dedicated to sending everyone to death and erasing his poorly executed spells right up until the end when he finally administers it successfully. He then comes off as a desperate man trying to hide his reckless mess rather than be a hero trying to help a friend. You know how stupid that makes him look? It makes him look really stupid. Okay, latest article, if Doctor Strange is right, how did other Spider-Man villains die? We're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. Doctor Strange 2 Trevor sets up evil Doctor Strange. Okay, the biggest hint, of course, an evil Doctor Strange comes from the forums from end credit scene. The teaser of Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. Strange has seen first enlisting the help of Wanda Maximoff, we know as Scarlet Witch. She's also dabbled herself in the dark arts and caused great harm in the events of WandaVision. You guys remember that. At least you all should remember that. But the final shot reveals that Strange facing off with an evil version of himself looks strikingly like Strange Supreme from the series What If. This evil version of Doctor Strange says, things just got out of hand. Which could also suddenly be a part of his broader explanation to the good Strange about what has transpired to bring his evil version. This has teased the scene from the sequel, which will more than likely hold the key to Strange's behavior in No Way Home. This has eluded him being under influence from dark forces this whole time, and which he may have not had any control over, or will likely be revealed in Multiverse of Madness, which is not until May 6th of 2022. Okay. Alright. Let me know your thoughts about that. I think it's pretty crazy. Again, let me know your thoughts. I think it's crazy. Alright, let's go down. 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 We have to find something else that's cool. Mm, uh, okay, you want to know some comic book news? I'll let you know some comic book news now. Flash versus Green Lantern. Who actually wins in a comic book fight? Okay, Flash and Green Lantern are close friends in comics, DC Comics, but that doesn't mean they've never come to blows. Here's who actually wins when they have fought. This was from 5 hours ago, guys. So there were a few superhero bromances as strong as between Green Lantern and the Flash. The relationship has been over 50 years. 50 fucking years. 50 years in the making. And early on has involved a mutual reveal of their secret identity. While serving on the Justice League, Green Lantern and the Flash has hung out together after work And they've even double dated their alter ego, which sounds kind of gay, if you ask me. But, however, as the saying goes, only real friends fight. Okay, the friendship was stood the test of time. There has nevertheless been occasions when talking it out, they just didn't resolve the issue. However, fights between friends are different than fights between enemies. Friends tend to know each other's strength and weakness. In comics, they have unparalleled understanding of each other's powers. Flash and Green Lantern fans may know who will win in the battle if they fought, but it's how their battles have played out. That's the question. The latest article, Earth's most underrated Green Lantern is literally a whale. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about someone else. So 1959, Flash number 143, Hal Jordan and Barry Allen has faced off against three Green Lantern doppelgangers bent on using powers to rob, pillage, and loot. So in one face-off, the fake Green Lantern kept out Flash at disadvantage until he remembers Green Lantern has a weakness against yellow. So using his speed, West has covered up himself with yellow paint from a still wet canvas, left from amateur painting. Ah, shit! 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 Okay, now I know I said shit a lot of times, but I've done that with another live stream in the past. You guys probably know. Okay, so let's reread that what I said again. 1959 Flash 143. Howard Jordan and Barry Allen face off against three Green Lantern doppelgangers, bent on using their powers to rob, pillage, and loot. To face off, the fake Green Lantern keeps Flash at disadvantage until he remembers Green Lantern has a weakness against yellow. Using this speed, West has covered himself with yellow paint from still wet canvas. Again left by amateur painting, copying a masterpiece, he then sprays a doppelganger with yellow paint by spinning like a top. Alright. Weakened by this, the Flash knocks him out with a left cross to the chin. He then takes it off and uses his ring. In contrast, Green Lantern faces a parallax possessed Flash from 2011 Green Lantern number 60. He's able to land a few shots with complex constructs, but is barely able to hold the villain at bay, ultimately ending the battle by tempting Parallax to possess him instead. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it actually really happened. Okay. This record against similar villains has set off the pattern for straight Flash versus Green Lantern moment. In those confrontations, Flash tends to overcome Hal Jordan, either as a result of his understanding of a Green Lantern ability or Jordan's failure to compensate for the Scarlet Speedster's strength. In 2009, The Flash Rebirth number 3, the Flash escapes Jordan's containment construct with a little effort by vibrating the right frequency to phase from it. Again, he repeats this feature in 2012 Flash Annual number 2. The Green Lantern puts Barry Allen in a vice contrast and again and threatens to crush him like a grape if he resists, only to have him effortlessly escape. Okay. Green Lantern counteracts Flash's phasing power from 26 and Barry Allen from a wall constructs key to vibrational frequency. Now, questioned about this, whether the constructs might harm or kill these two flashes running onto it or into it. I said onto it, it's into it. Jordan makes clear that the construct's not a wall, per se, but rather a barrier activated and maintained by his willpower. Because Green Lantern's use willpower, after all. For all the strength of the character, Jordan's willpower is shredded as both Allen and West have smashed through the barrier without missing a step. After overcoming to explain to him that he should stay out of this fight before continuing in a headlong race. Okay, there's more. Able to face through, destroy, and simply dodge Green Lantern constructs, Flash had tended to come out ahead in the vast majority of their battles. How Jordan fans can take comfort in the fact this is likely because he's unwilling to go all the way to stop his friend. Alternate realities of DC Comic Crime Syndicate number 5. Earth 3 version of Green Lantern not only uses his ability to cage his evil Flash, but can adjust his control of the construct in such a manner that has defeats the Flash. Ability to vibrate from it. Or through it. Yes, through it. Through it. Through it. Through it. Okay, so I'm going crazy right now. So unfortunately, he uses too much power to resist the Flash's vibration, and it ends up killing him. Nevertheless, when it comes to a fight between friends, Flash has always. What the fuck? Okay, that was a stupid advertisement. I don't know what the fuck that was. But when it comes to a fight between friends, Flash beats Green Lantern every time. Every time. Flash beats Green Lantern every time. Yes, every time. Flash beats Green Lantern every time. Again, let me know your thoughts. I think it's really important to realize that they actually had fighted in the comics before. Now, if you guys who already knew they fighted in comics, kudos to you. You can pat yourself on the back. But for those who don't know, I just told you! Okay, so now we're going to keep going. Okay. We are going to find. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Spider-Man again. Again, Spider-Man. Spider-Man 4 can now finally fix the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy mistake. The ending of No Way Home sets up Spider-Man 4. MCU is a good place to fix mistakes made from Sam Raimi's original trilogy. Okay, 6 hours ago. Spoilers. Most Immaculate Spider-Man 4 can fix the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy mistake. Thanks to Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland's Spider-Man late solo film, have we tied the non-MCU Spider-Man villains again, and other Spider-Mans, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. The movie is also tied to a hint that Holland's MCU feature is going to fix up the Venom mishap from Spider-Man 3. So, Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit has seen a continuation from Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credits. Now, Tom Hardy Venom is featured for a cameo. He is sent back to Sony Universe instead of staying in MCU. This has come as a lesson as he's learned more about MCU superheroes, including Holland's Spider-Man. Although Hardy and Holland don't have the chance to interact in this scene, the post-credit scene still teases Venom as part of Spider-Man's future. Again, future. It's in part of Spider-Man's future. Part of the symbiote is left in Mexico as Venom exits the MCU, sent back to Sony Universe. This indicates Spider-Man 4 can still happen and could bring a new take to Venom and Spider-Man relationship on the big screen. Related article: Venom's perfect MCU future does not include Tom Hardy. First off, that doesn't fucking make sense. And second off, why? I'm not talking about that. We're going to keep going. So, okay, with MCU Spider Man 4 poised to include Venom, a sequel has a chance to fix mistakes of Sam Raimi's Spider Man 3. So, made the symbiote villain Venom and Spider Man comic connection. It's something that's been waiting to see properly translate from the screen. Spider Man 3, used from Venom, was a disaster. 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 But the film did struggle to put a symbiote and Eddie Brock work within a story. It's not a secret director Sam Raimi don't want Venom in Spider-Man 3. Struggles to understand his character. Sony demands the symbiote Venom needs to appear. This led to a character backlash. Again, we also know emo Peter Parker and Tom Hardy Venom franchise has fixed aspects of the character live action portrayals. From lacks of connections to Spider-Man has still irked out the viewers. Okay. Spider-Man No Way Home already teases Spider-Man 4 is another film in Holland's new trilogy. Will include Venom. Will include Venom. Now, Marvel is already setting up their Venom Spider-Man story. It's going to be different and better than Spider-Man 3. Again, it's going to be better than Spider-Man 3. So, the villain should be the forefront of all discussions about Spider-Man 4 story right now. Kevin Feige possibly knowing how he wants to differentiate the next Venom from what has come before. Marvel Studios and Sony would not take on Venom as part of Holland's Spider-Man future if it wasn't something they wanted to do. Not only has Spider-Man 3 shown how wrong this could go, Tom Hardy is currently playing a version of a character that is very well liked. Spider-Man 4 using Venom invites comparisons to both versions, the crappy version and the good version. So there must be a good idea on how this MCU could put a different spin from the character. Given the fact Tom Hardy is playing a variant of Eddie Brock in MCU. Or making Flash Thompson get a symbiote. Again, let me know your thoughts about that. Again, next, why MCU Spider-Man 4 has to be different after No Way Home. Spider-Man No Way Home is to mark the end of Peter Parker MCU trilogy. Again, there is a start of a drastic evolution. Okay, Tom Holland Peter Parker must have a very different MCU journey after No Way Home. In Spider-Man 4, to say expectations are high from a third installment, given fact the Sam Raimi third one has sucked. Sucked. Now, arrival of multiple multiverse villains from Peter Parker potentials team up with other iterations of Spider-Man characters, villains and heroes included. No Way Home is one of the most ambitious movies ever. So, how could a sequel follow such a huge event? Since his introduction from Civil War, Spider-Man has undeniably remained under shadows from the Avengers. More specifically, Iron Man. Now, given the fact that Iron Man is dead, now you have Doctor Strange. So again, Peter has also been grown more mature after every victory and every fight. Just taught him how being a superhero is more important than fame and thrills. However, he's committing rookie mistakes from naive personalities by blindly trusting Mysterio from far from home. His interruption of Doctor Strange's spell in No Way Home. Well, latest article. Doctor Strange Spider-Man No Way Home mistake has set up Infinity War. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about something else. With Tony Stark out of the picture now, the original Avengers are over from Endgame. Spider-Man will now have to go through a more drastic transformation. Spider-Man No Way Home is the perfect moment to signal the end of an era for Spider-Man. Recent interviews from Entertainment Weekly, Tom Holland expressed that despite the possibility of more sequel is coming from the future. Spider-Man No Way Home is the end of a cycle. Therefore, the characters in the future installment will be very different. He said in comments below, "We were all treating No Way Home as the end of a franchise." He says, "I think we were lucky enough to dive into those characters again. You'll be seeing a very different version. It would no longer be a homecoming trilogy. We would give it some time to try to build something new and different, tonally change the film. Whether this happens or not, I don't know. But we are definitely treating No Way Home like it was coming to an end, and it felt like it." Okay, unlike the previous two Spider-Man franchises, the Homecoming series of films has only been explored at the beginning of Peter Parker's journey as a superhero in the MCU. It wouldn't be fair for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to end his cinematic appearance with a single trilogy and only be the first step in the universe, much less after proving the worth of multiverse battle against Marvel's most powerful villains in the Spider-Man universe. Regardless of which of two companies were helmed on the next movies, Disney and Sony could work together to produce a new trilogy that features Spider-Man Peter Parker in his prime, more independent and confident in his battle against new waves of Spider-Man villains. This also gives both companies to develop a complex relationship between Spider-Man and his established characters like Venom, Morbius, Scorpion, Vulture, and upcoming Craven Hunter. Oh man, now I like to say that. Again, with so many characters and stories expanding, Sony and Disney shared universe is so much source material to adapt. Tom Holland could keep starring in multiple Spider-Man movies until he falls over and dies. But again, Peter Parker becomes a superhero veteran worthy of retirement. Now, at which point, he could become a mentor to Miles Morales, just like Iron Man was a mentor to him. Now, after all, Tony Stark influenced the entire Infinity Saga, still continues well Phase 4. Spider-Man can follow suit. Spider-Man No Way Home has been the breathtaking end of Peter Parker's MCU journey. Again, so it might as well be a bigger taste of things to come. Okay, now we're talking about something else. Spider-Man related. Yeah, Spider-Man related. Again, all 12 Spider-Man universe movies releasing after Venom Let There Be Carnage and when. Okay, Marvel and Sony have a lot of Spider-Man movies planned after Let There Be Carnage. And here is every one of them. You want to know every single movie from Sony, from Spider-Man universe? I'll tell you. So Venom Let There Be Carnage is the second movie from Sony's Spider-Man universe. That's definitely not been the last. And along with Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's bringing a lot more movies to Spider-Man universe after Venom's second solo adventure. They have every upcoming movie the last superhero genre has been dominating for years. Now, by two connected universes from biggest comic book publisher Marvel Comics has made way for two worlds to even things out, operating separately, but now starting to merge. Merge! So, Marvel Cinematic Universe and Sony Spider-Man Universe. It all starts with a deal between Sony and Marvel that has allowed Spider-Man to be part of MCU, while also being in Sony Universe. This hasn't really happened yet. Instead, Sony's been hard at work building a universe of Spider-Man characters. Starting back in 2018 to be more exact, with Venom, directed by Ruben Fleischer, introducing Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock Venom. Meanwhile, the MCU continued its course to bring Spider-Man, now played by Tom Holland, back for a couple more adventures after his debut from Civil War. Now appearing for two solo movies and Infinity War and Endgame. Alright, latest article. Why Sony's Spider-Man villain universe isn't really about villains. I'm not going to talk about that unless you want me to talk about it. Okay, so third Spider-Man movie, No Way Home, will open up the gates of the multiverse, bringing villains from Spider-Man's past into Holland's world. So all eyes on this are future movies related to Web Swinger, speculation from future of Spider-Verse, and expectations of crossovers have only grown after release from Spider-Man No Way Home and Let There Be Carnage. We're already in theaters. Now, luckily, there have been many movies of Spider-Man's universe lined up in the not so distant future. Here is every single one and when they are going to be released. Spider-Man No Way Home. We already talked about that 1,000 times. We already know what happens in No Way Home. Next, Morbius, January 28th, 2022. Okay, we already kind of talked about him. He, again, is a doctor who turns into a vampire, played by Jared Leto, suffering blood disease and a way to find a cure, exposing himself to a strange experiment involving bats, and he becomes a vampire. Again, also, it's confirmed that Vulture is going to appear. Probably. Again, let me know. Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse 2, October 7th, 2022. 2018, Sony has brought the first animated movie, Spider-Man Into Spider-Verse. The first animated multiverse movie. Miles Morales, voiced by Shamik Moore, becomes a Spider-Man and joins other Spider-Mans to battle Kingpin. Now, not the Kingpin from live action, a Kingpin in animated form. It's noted to be a commercial success and win the Best Animated Feature at the 91st Academy Awards. Now, Sony's been confirmed a sequel since 2019. And the actors are all reprising their roles. Next, latest article, the key lesson Spider-Man 3 needs to learn from Into Spider-Verse. But we're not talking about it unless you want me to talk about it. Okay, we're going to keep going. So, Craven the Hunter, January 13th, 2023. A movie starring Craven the Hunter is one of the projects teased in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. It has been active as an idea for a long-ass time. So, he is one of the villains planning to appear in a long-awaited Sinister Six movie, but right now we have to have a solo movie with him. Craven Hunter Project is picked up again and was announced as early as 2018 to be more exact, as part of Sony's plans for Marvel Universe. So in 2020, there was a director, They had to rewrite the script in 2021. Aaron Taylor Johnson cast as Craven, marking his second Marvel role since Pedro Maximoff Quicksilver. We last saw him from Age of Ultron. So Craven the Hunter is given a January 2023 release date. Spider Women. Spider Women to be announced. Well, that's fucking lazy. To be announced? You don't even know when it is? What the fuck? So Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is making a way for a spin-off centered by three generations of Spider-Woman characters. Now, thus referred to Spider-Women. Story is reported about Spider-Gwen, voiced by Haley Steinfeld, Jessica Drew, and Cindy Moon. Again, there's no updates on this Spider-Woman spin-off series. Since it's been announced by screenwriters, there is just to be rumors about this project and has been left aside to rot until we know more about it. Olivia Wilde's untitled Spider-Man Universe movie to be announced. Again, so fucking lazy. Again, August 2020 has announced Olivia Wilde has been able to sign on and develop a direct-to-female-centric Marvel movie we know as Spider-Woman. Sinister Six to be announced. Well, that's fucking lazy. Again, another project left aside to rot until we get time to visit it again is Amazing Spider-Man 3. Though it was canceled by Sony and Marvel deal, that was supposed to be Sinister Six, was supposed to be Sinister Six, was supposed to be Sinister Six. Now, the arrival of this team is long overdue. It has been the end of Spider-Man Amazing 2, and has been formed by Rhino, Vulture, Dr. Octopus, Mysterio, and the new Craven. Now, also Green Goblin serving as the leader. But we don't know this yet. But the project has been left behind by Sony many times. Again, since December of 2018, it has been rotting on the shelves until you decide to use it. Again, Amy Pascal has confirmed the studio keeps it locked in a vault until Sony and Marvel decide when to use it. Again, we don't know the release date. Next, the latest article, Theory No Way Home missing Sinister Six villain as MCU newcomer. We're not talking about that. We're talking about something else. Tom Holland's next MCU team up movie to be announced. Well, that's lazy. We don't know. Okay. Original Sony Marvel deals fell through in 2019. After much speculations for more, both studios reached a brand new deal to allow Holland Spider-Man and MCU a little longer. This has brought changes to Holland's contract. A new Sony Marvel deal has kept Holland for two more movies. One of these being No Way Home and another being a mystery movie. This could be a crossover. But with this version of Spider-Man being allowed to be in both MCU and Sony Spider-Man universe, this could be a movie that finally sees Peter Parker meeting Eddie Brock, played by Tom Hardy. Again, nothing is confirmed yet. Nothing is confirmed yet. Nothing is confirmed yet. And these plans could change in any moment. Any moment. Again, I'm like repeating myself so you guys can understand what I'm talking about. So just like the original Sony Marvel deal, other Spider-Verse projects, other Spider-Verse projects Well, some other projects of Craven the Hunter and Sinister Six have been picked up again, but are continuing to rot in the vaults of Sony right now until we decide to use it. Others have remained in limbo and are unknown if they will ever happen and if they were canceled. Now, again, first is Jackpot, which was announced in August 2018. Again, an update being from Mark Guggenheim, writer of Jackpot comic books, working from a screenplay in May 2020, has Madame Web. You remember her from the comics. Now Sony hiring someone that's been in the works since 2020 and 2019. Updates of this project were still in development. An untitled project was announced in March 2020, but again, it sits on the shelf in the vaults of Sony to rot until we get a chance to see it again. So, again, there is supposed to be another project, but again, with Madame Web. Again, will Venom 3 happen? That's a good question. We already talked about this a little bit. We talked about a little bit. The future of Venom after Let There Be Carnage is uncertain, but there is still hope for Eddie, a symbiote coming back after a second movie established and being so successful that it breaks the post-pandemic box office records. A third Venom movie is not going to be greenlit until Let There Be Carnage has proved to be successful. Well, we already know it's been successful because, again, I didn't tell you guys this in the beginning, but this article is outdated. So, Andy Serkis already has plans for Venom 3. Again, Let There Be Carnage definitely leaves the door open for another movie. And more. If it all goes according to the plans of box office success. It probably won't take long for Sony to confirm Venom 3 are part of a plan of the future of Spider-Man universe. That you guys, let me know your thoughts. Again, we are already like over an hour long in this video. I'm just kind of just repeating myself. So I'll talk to you guys a little later. I don't know what the fuck the live stream is saying. It's saying your connection's unstable. Please wait while we're trying to reconnect. Now it's reconnected. Okay. So again, like I said, this is an hour-long talk about Spider-Man news and more. Again, let me know your thoughts. You guys have a wonderful night. It's already like 12:30 in the morning. I keep repeating myself to reiterate some things. So again, I'll talk to you guys later on at a later time. Bye.